I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hi, AJ and the Queen fans. We are here to discuss episode 7, Jackson. I am your host, 123 Jackie B. With me, as always, Mark J. Freeman, Jayla Roxx.
I think he's sending a tweet.
And Ollie.
Hey. Yes.
We're all back together.
Yes, back together. Full house.
We're going to discuss the episode, and as a bonus for news and gossip, we're going to talk about that not All Stars. Season 12 teaser.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. So, what did you guys think of the episode?
This is where it picks up for me. I finally I've been enjoying the show, but that midway mark when you kind of get I'll finish it later kind of gig. Yeah. I actually enjoyed it, and this was one of my favorite episodes because I get to see our girls, one of our favorite all-stars in this episode. So we'll talk about it when we get there. Yeah.
Latrice Royale for the 45 millionth time. If you ever want to come on this show, you have an open invitation.
God. Yeah, I'll send her a text. How about that?
I've been trying since season 4, girl.
Really? Okay, I'll send her a text. I got you.
She's a busy gal.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because our cameos were Latrice and Monique.
Who I saw last night at Mickey's.
Oh, she was there? Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Did she perform?
No, she was just there having a cocktail.
Yeah, they're in their boy drags.
We were asking, I said, we were talking about this. I said, do you know if Netflix, I'm assuming they can see which episode is watched more than others?
Yeah.
So I said to her, just have everybody, when they go fall asleep at night, click on your episode. So your episode, she's like, oh, that's a great idea.
Okay. That's what I do at home.
She's like, I want to be on season 2. So
I hope there's a season 2. I'm really excited.
I hope so too.
So we want to thank all of our fans who are joining us in the live chat.
Yes.
Chucky Chuck, Joseph
Boza,
Boza,
Billie Jean.
I was going to say Mark J. Freeman.
Mark J. Freeman.
Yeah, he's a fan of the week too.
Hold on, let me
And
scroll.
if you comment on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, we could give you a cool shout out or a comment on YouTube as well.
Boza,
And so
Billie
you
Jean.
could become fan of the week.
Yeah.
The episode opens with Ruby. I keep wanting to say RuPaul.
Right.
Ruby's call with the credit card company where
Yes.
they're all named Monica, and that
Yes.
whole credit card exchange was making me laugh because then the lady on the other line learns that she's a performer and tells her we can give you to the hardship department.
Yeah, hardship, yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's so real it hurts.
Yeah.
So I loved that scene. I thought it was a blast. And then the next scene we have AJ's mom, what's her name?
Brianna Douglas.
Brianna
right?
Douglas.
LGBT. Lady
LGBT.
Glitter.
Lady Glitter Butterfly Top.
Yeah.
I know a couple of butterfly tops, honey, but that's another show.
So she's actually is looking for AJ, and she's putting up signs and everything, and Lewis kind of shoos her away. But then later in the episode, after a conversation with Ruby, decides to actually that she's going to tell her where AJ
Now,
is.
what would you do when said mother comes to the house and goes, hey, have you seen my child? Are you going to say, no, I don't know, I haven't seen her? Or yeah. Because, what would you do if you say yes?
I think I would say the last time I saw her was she stopped by the apartment or something, because I wouldn't want to say something that made the police go after Ruby,
Yes.
Yeah.
because it's not because
But
AJ,
then again, think about it. You are Lewis. You did tell Lady Danger that you performed in the Pittsburgh at 9 p.m. at the Velvet whatever.
I didn't know it was Lewis in this scenario,
Right.
not me. Because if I was me, I would
Is
just be
Jackie-
like,
yes.
I saw her around the apartment a couple days ago or
Is
whatever.
Jackie also
Okay.
blind in this as well? with
Right.
Lewis?
Yes.
Right. But if I was Lewis, I might have given her the exact
It was really
location.
interesting because I don't know if it was this scene, but we did learn that AJ was actually, apparently, according to, I think the mom said it, Brianna, that AJ was actually in a foster home, which maybe they might have already said that, but they did.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the whole story is, that if AJ ran away, did she run away from her foster? How the foster care systems just seems corrupt to me if you could easily just run away from your foster care.
Yeah.
But at least in a sense that it wasn't like she just abandoned her child. At least AJ was in the foster care system, despite maybe it kind of falling through.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't really know how it works personally, but it just seems that, like, wow, she just ran away from her family and no one came after her. So at least her mom's, like, trying despite her being on the streets, you know, so I felt for the mom. She's looking rough, that's for sure.
I did feel like the theme of this episode was that even if someone has a bad mom, they still want to have a relationship with that person, and that person still deserves a second chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because someone is struggling, that doesn't mean that they don't love you.
Yeah.
And there's two sides to every person, which that was another theme of another episode, a past episode.
Yeah.
So we get to the club in Jackson, which is Latrice Royale's club, except that now I forgot her name.
Fabergé?
Fabergé Legs.
Fabergé legs.
And
No,
then
I don't get that one. Somebody tell me.
Fabergé eggs.
And
it's a really beautifully ornate, decorated egg.
They're very expensive.
Yes.
Are they real eggs?
No, they're like ceramic eggs, and they're painted.
I think back in the old-timey times, didn't
they were probably made of something else.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Pharaoh eggs?
Fabergé.
Fabergé.
Pharaoh.
I have faux. My family has
Fabergé.
faux
Here, let me
Fabergé
Google it.
eggs.
I'm
They're
gonna
like
Oh my
Eastern European
God.
stuff, like
Yeah.
Eastern European Easter decorations.
WPS.
Fabergé egg. Okay, Fabergé egg is a
Russian?
jeweled egg created by the House of Fabergé in St. Petersburg, Imperial Russia. Possibly as many as 69 were created, of which 57 survive today. So they're very limited.
Oh, wow. Let me see this. I don't know if I want an egg in my house. That's going to
Look,
like real-
Jayla, it's up there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, girl. You could just say that's where you put your auntie. No. Okay. So these are like urns.
They're
No.
not eggs.
No,
They're eggs.
they
What-
look
okay,
like
what's in the
urns.
egg?
Nothing's in
Nothing.
the egg.
Oh,
No,
girl.
they're just like
Save
ornately
it.
designed eggs.
That look haunted. I'm
It
good.
does kind of look like some do
Yeah.
look like urns, but yeah.
They're probably worth a lot of money, though.
They are worth a lot of money.
Which was like, I guess that's the whole point of Latrice being called that as her stage name, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
she's unique. She's
Yeah,
like
they're
something
they're
that
very
Ornate.
rare.
Ornate.
And then Monique's name is Teri Tory.
Tory, which
Which
thought
I
was
liked,
cute.
Which I
yeah.
thought was cool too. And then your friend Drew Droege wrote this episode,
too,
and
yep.
I love the jokey, like company ideas that Monique's character was coming up with.
Yeah.
She had like, what was it, like ribbed barbecue or something,
Oh,
like all these
yeah.
weird like ideas for companies that I was like, oh, that sounds like totally like something Drew Droege would write.
Totally. Here's Allie.
Multiple incomes. I'm here for it.
So they are at the club, and then they meet the hottie bodyguard, Daryl.
Mm.
Yes. Who I thought was Titus Burgess
Oh,
for a quick second. No.
did look-
What? No.
He did look familiar.
No.
He was very Titus in the face. He wasn't Titus to you?
No.
He was giving me like, if Titus was a little bit more like,
No.
like a little bit
He
more,
was way
had a
too-
little bit more barbecue sauce. You know what I'm saying? You know, okay. I will take the L for this one. I'm okay with it. But yeah, Hottie Patootie was really cute, the bodyguard.
Little bow chicka bow
Yes.
bow in the back of the car.
And so they go to a flashback, which was one of our favorite moments.
Yes,
Salt
which
and
I think
Pepper
we have a
flashback.
We
have a photo of
full
this.
photos of.
Yes. So, and I was so glad to see Rue kind of like having fun with this number. Like
Yeah.
Rue's having fun with all of these numbers, and I'm so like invested that he's invested into it.
Yeah.
Because you could be like, oh, I could just easily just shoot me from behind with a
Yeah.
body double and a
Yeah.
wig. But like seeing Rue actually do the routine and have fun and do the, you know, the 80s throwback, it just shows like, you know,
Oh yeah, there's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's a
this
good
was this was an old school drag moment.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Totally.
like, yeah, because Latrice is legendary, Rue is legendary, and I felt like having them come together and tying Latrice's storyline
Yes.
into the show, I was like,
Yeah.
way too go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great.
And I love how you can tell that not just Rue is enjoying it, but that Latrice having a blast. Like they're
Right.
having
Yes.
a blast with each other doing this like performance.
Yeah, and I remember, I think honestly, it happened in one of your interviews. I don't know if it was Trinity, but I think one of the queens said that they were actually like handpicked by Rue. So I think a lot of these queens were handpicked.
Monique Hart.
So a lot of these queens, like Rue and company, really had a lot of thought and like, okay, which queens do we want? And I feel like they really did a good job of picking queens that like are not exactly close to Rue's aesthetic, but it's like classic queens who are kind of like, I don't know, they
Who can
aren't
carry a show.
right,
Yeah.
and that can kind of I don't know, they just kind of really resonate with Rue's craft and kind of like fit with this with the show, I think. So it's
Yeah.
really cool, and obviously some have more expanded roles than others, such as Latrice.
I was waiting for Latrice and Monique to do this All-Stars
Oh my
tour.
God, yes.
Well, she
Lip sync for your life.
She says in my interview as well that they taped this right after they had
That's
right after the
insane.
All Stars 4 stuff happened.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Or when it aired, right after when it was airing for
okay.
us, they were actually taping that stuff.
Because I thoroughly enjoyed Monique's like B-roll footage of her just like breaking
Yeah.
it down with the girls. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So this is like I said, Monique didn't
I
need
should have
to
asked. Why didn't I
win.
think to ask Monique to come today?
Why didn't you?
Yeah, you should
Come
just kidnap
Monday.
her. Just
Come
kidnap
Monday.
her.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
you have to.
I'll ask her.
Yeah, but like I said, back on All Stars 4, like Monique didn't need to win to become an All Star.
Yeah.
So now she's brown cow stunning all over the world, and that's
Yeah.
why Territory was a perfect fit for her because this bitch is traveling. Her passport is dingy. She's bent it all back, and that's good.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
I also like how each place that they travel to, they give the club a unique flavor and the queens a unique flavor. So this is kind of like I thought of it as like the mafia queens because they're
Okay.
like all out to protect Ruby and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we can get rid of Lady Danger for you, you know, and then they're creating they have like the bootleg Gucci.
Now, have you ever been
Oh,
to
yeah.
a bootleg place before? Oh,
I mean, I've
see.
seen them selling it on the street.
Now,
We've all been downtown LA.
I'm guilty of not buying replicas. Well, we don't call it bootleg or fake not anymore. They call it replicas. So I am guilty of like almost like checking them out like, oh, these look real. Like, you know, but I feel like having a replica won't make your life any better either.
No.
Even if you buy the real thing, it's just gonna be like, okay, it's the bag. So if it's $100 cheaper, I might get it too. But no, that is really a thing though, y'all. Like people do like
Yeah.
Oh, I know. My cousin.
Manufacture.
So in DC, there's all kinds of like
well,
vendors.
don't spin your
selling-
cousin out, girl.
selling bootleg stuff. And my cousin, one time we were teenagers, got bootleg Oakleys, and he was like, "They're real, they're real." And I was like, "You just paid $10. Those are not real." So yeah, if the Oakleys or if the Gucci's are $10, they're not real.
Yeah.
Which it was interesting because this tied into the lady with the dog that AJ sees, and Ruby points out, oh, like she's wearing Gucci's, like she probably has a ton of money.
Yeah.
But it turns out no, she's wearing the bootleg Gucci's and she doesn't have any money. And they end up going to visit the homeless camp, where Ruby ends up buying that lady's dog for AJ for her last $99, which I thought was so, like, it was so sweet and so touching, and I was really excited for like the dog to become part of the buddy comedy.
Right.
I was hoping that. I was like, oh, there's a dog. Oh, okay.
She even named the dog Jackson,
Jackson,
right? And
yeah.
I was like, come on, you can't just like
Yes.
give the dog back after naming it. But it made sense how it all tied together. It kind of painted the picture of like the dog was basically AJ crying for her mom. Like that was the whole storyline. And AJ in a sense was kind of becoming Ruby, you know, trying to take and Ruby clearly, there's this whole question of, adoption and whatnot. And so it's getting the lines are getting a lot more blurred. So I'm really interested, like I don't even know my predictions how the series is going to end. I feel like I've been predicting really well, but I don't know anymore because we
Yeah.
got the whole thing with Lois kind of being the bridge to possibly AJ and her mom's reuniting, but I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
So
we're
it's
at
just
the
getting
tipping point.
It's getting very gray, and I don't know how to feel about it. And I'm sad that it's over almost.
I did like that Ruby in the whole dog situation. steps up and does act like the mom, like the surrogate mom to the dog by being like, oh, it's probably like just this or it's just that. And she's not freaking out about the dog crying in the way like AJ's becoming clearly distressed by it, you know? So because Ruby's like, oh, I got this. Oh, it's fine. It's probably this, you know, because as a parent, you would think you want that person, the parent, to be the person who's got that attitude of, I don't get ruffled, I can handle this, you know, that sort of thing. So I also liked how it was like Ruby was showing her ability to like be a good parent in that situation as well. So
did they ever get the money back though?
No.
Burning questions at night.
Come on. I was really frustrated. I'm like, okay, give the dog back, but we need the money for some gas.
No. That's being an Indian giver.
I think it's just going to be more storylines about how now
They're
Ruby
broke.
really needs money.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, how did you afford the gas getting there? How you afford the dog? How you afford the food? Like, I don't know.
She's a good performer. She's been getting a lot of tips, I think, maybe.
She got $3 at the last place.
Now she's in Jackson. I'm sure they're far better tippers.
True.
So then we have Lady Danger and Damien. And Damien, it seems like she picked him up at a gay bar. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the frosted tips, girl? Of course you picked her up at a gay bar.
I was so confused. I was like, oh, this is a flashback. Got it.
Yeah, so she picks him up at a gay bar. So, and then he has an ex-wife. So I'm thinking he's like he's just openly bisexual.
Well, I think
No, I can tell you what he is. He's a cheater. That's what he is. And then he just happens to tread along in the gay bars because that's where he want to be.
I think he was like hooking on his own. And I think she caught that, and that's why she's like, I can help you, I can get you, make you more money and stuff. So that was how I interpreted it. But,
I can see that.
But that's me.
And then they have an argument, and she's basically like telling him, oh, you have to sleep with me, and then we'll be done.
And they did.
And that was uncomfortable. Like Dia, she's such a fun-loving kind of person in real life. To see her play this evil character, which Jackie, do you still think? I mean, this is predictions, but Jackie thought before that, oh, she might be the one who's going to turn like for good. And now I'm thinking I would like that. But
the week you weren't here, I changed my mind.
Okay.
And I said that she's evil.
She's
and
so
he's
evil.
not.
I don't want her to be evil. Damn.
Yeah.
And it seems like Damien's turning good.
Yeah.
So it seems like she's kind of like the huge big bad influencer that's going to try to like. But I don't know how this episode ended now because they kind of got, you know, like the whole Fabrige's crew got on their asses.
Right.
We found out what was under her eye patch.
Yes, that was so exciting. Oh my
Right?
God. I was so, like, I have been dying this whole time to figure out what was under the eye patch. Because usually, like, by this time, you're like, okay, I've got the characters, like, pretty much figured out. But they had not mentioned that eye patch at all. I'm like, now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know.
And she did that to herself, right? Didn't she do that to like?
Yeah, she did it to herself
yeah.
because
I knew it was coming because the flashback, she had 2 eyes. I was like, okay, we're going to get a one-eye story.
Yeah.
And then she mentions in the hotel, like, I have my eye on you. Or he's like, at least I have both of my eyes. And I was like, this is going to be an eye reveal. And I'm here for it. So sadly, she didn't have an eye under that eye. So she didn't watch enough Drag Race.
Wow.
I know.
I do like that, like, Fabergé and her crew were, like, they were really down for protecting Ruby, and they ran her out of town. You know, because so many times in like, the media or stories, you think about these situations, like, I keep going back to, like, Boys Don't Cry, which is, like, you have this movie that's, like, an Academy Award nominated movie, and it's so sad, and it's like, no, here you have the queen standing up for themselves, being able to take care of themselves. It's like, we need more stories like that, because you can't just have, like, sad porn stories.
Right, especially the queer community where it can be so divided within the vast LGBTQIA plus community. So it's nice to see everyone kind of work together to protect one another from these problematic people.
And they're able to. It's not just like they're trying. And it's like they managed to scare Lady Danger.
Yeah, especially since things haven't been working out
Well, I would be
for
scared
Robert.
too if you see a 6'4" big black man in a wig telling you to scram. And now black people don't say scram, so when they say scram, you better run. No, I speaking of like black representation, I thought this is a really great episode because we haven't really seen masculine black gay representation recently since Moonlight.
Right.
And I thought this was the perfect way to do it. And I felt like, I don't know, like you said, you say your friend wrote this, so maybe he had a little help on the writing table about like the storyline and the character the placement, being the bodyguard.
Yeah.
As a black gay man meant a lot for that character, or having the people who were watching the door and guarding the door being like this, what do you call it, mask for mask appearance, so I feel like having that representation without them feeling so weird, because it's a taboo subject in the black community to be gay, especially as a man. So I felt like, they were tackling these issues. I'm like, way to go for this progressive ass writing.
No, and I love that you bring that up, because I think even looking back on Drag Race season 11 with Monique, that was a huge conversation with Monique. She said you can't be black and gay. That was literally in Untucked. So I love that. Maybe they even... Maybe that Untucked inspired this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was really beautifully said.
Yeah.
Speaking of masculine black gay men, we have Daryl and Ruby start up a romance. And I love that when they finally have sex, it like ends in the Titanic thing.
Oh, yeah. When I saw that, I just go, girl. I was like, girl. That's all I said. I was like, I cannot. I'm over it. The steamy, sexy with the hand coming down the windshield.
I loved it. I was there. I was like, I am here for a good pop culture.
No, I was screaming when it was a Hummer. The Hummer is just rocking back and forth. I'm like, really, girl? Y'all might as well have been watching the stars fall, and oh god.
Although I did get mad when Ruby essentially just breaks it off with Daryl, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna call you" or whatever, and I'm like, girl, like you have someone who totally cares about you.
He lived too far.
We never want the ones that want us.
That's so true, and so
well,
sad.
the ones that want me, they. We'll get into that later.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's another show.
We've got a lot of spinoffs.
I know. Oh, God. Okay.
I was just so upset by that because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm still going to hold out hope for them for the end of the episode, or for the end of the season, but it...
What about Lloyd? What about our boy Lloyd back
at the Bob Mackie Museum?
So Robert is just very popular, but I think
we're not here to talk about that episode, but that too, where like she was like so offended when he started slamming on her, and I'm like, girl, you had to know this man was hitting on you.
She's like, I just thought he was just a really nice guy.
Who let me wear a Bob Mackie costume.
Yeah, Bob Mackie ain't free, girl. What you gonna do for it?
But at least Ruby got laid. Robert needed it. I mean, Robert, it has like Robert needed to feel that protection, needed to feel that affection from like something.
But is getting laid rewarding to your situation? You still gonna be broke. You still gonna be $85,000 in the hole.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, so it's just an escape right now. So maybe Ruby is in this like hurting phase, the whole phase. Once after you break up with somebody, you go into a whole phase.
And do you think that Robert's hurting other people, such as like Lloyd and Daryl, by like kind of?
I do think so. Like I mean, like Daryl really liked her.
That's true.
Lloyd kind of liked her.
I
for
saw
a minute.
Spark. Remember the rib scene? The cookout.
The cookout.
Yeah, it was cute.
Getting some barbecue sauce on like the Gucci.
Yeah.
Come on.
I love a gratuitous shirtless scene. He was like, "Oh no, I have to remove this entire shirt because of this." And I was like, "Yes, you do."
Oh God.
It was very tasteful.
Girl.
And then we have, speaking of couples, we have Lewis and Officer Patrick Kennedy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They just got out of the honeymoon phase.
Yes.
Where he gets upset about what she says about his beans.
About the beans. So are they? So they're a thing. Like, is this because of the show needing an extra supporting character, or is this like?
I feel like the show felt like because Ruby or Robert is single and kind of mingling around and feeling brokenhearted, they probably felt like, okay, we need something like, we need a positive, like happy relationship to balance that out. And
could
so
be.
that's kind of how I felt
Okay.
that, you know, they
And
felt,
also, still Lewis isn't kind of alone. He's kind of
Yeah.
left to have someone to play with.
yeah.
Not literally.
Quote unquote.
Because otherwise he'd just be like, you know, calling the phone and then like banging on the neighbor's door 20 times to try
And
and get
he,
her.
and he's all comic relief for sure,
Yeah.
with
No,
heart as
definitely
well.
comic relief.
But yeah, and obviously he
But
needs,
without the officer.
yeah. But the officer kind of ties a little bit to Brianna.
Well, he kind of helped, and then he stopped helping, then he started effing the friend, and then that's it. Now you up in my house while I'm not there.
But maybe we're gonna kick him to the curb soon. Who knows?
I hope so.
Because sometimes we get into those relationships that we think we want, but we realize we don't really necessarily need it. And maybe this episode hinted
it'll be
that.
a season 2 thing. Like, oh, what happened to Officer Patrick? Oh, honey, like, you know, times have changed.
I want them
don't-
to bring up that hot officer from a couple of episodes back.
Oh,
that,
yeah. I looked
like,
at his IMDb, and I was like, okay.
He's cute. I think
He's
they should
available
bring
for a
him back.
booking. He's available for a booking.
Any last thoughts on this episode before we go into fan of the week?
I don't have anything.
This one hit home for me. Like I
Everybody in
said.
the chat room really liked this episode too.
Yeah, I
this,
loved
like,
it.
This was a
Yeah.
great turning point for me to
Yeah.
be invested for season 2, because a lot of these Netflix shows don't make it past season 2, girl.
Yeah.
So if I get to this midway point and I still like the show for what it is and what it has to offer, then I'll move on to season 2, and
Yeah.
can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Now, if it's some bullshit in episode 8, count me out, girl. But we'll see. We'll find out next week.
So, fan of the week is You Know Who. Literally. That's
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm like
Oh.
waiting. I'm like,
it's You Know Who.
do I know?
I do know.
Yes, You Know Who. You're the fan of the week because
know.
your username is very, very funny.
Very fun.
Yes.
Very fun.
What did they say about us? Did they say something bad? Did
No, they were just commenting
Oh.
on the, like, joining the conversation.
Oh, thank you. You know.
Thank you. You know who?
You know who.
Thank
You
you.
know who I be?
So, Mark,
Yes.
of the week?
Quote of the week this week is, so I'm going to have to do the lead in because the last line is the quote of the week. It's when AJ and Ruby are at the door waiting for Fabrige. And AJ says, "What's his problem?" And Ruby says, "That's a woman." She says, "I know. I was just being a bitch."
I know. I told someone that today on the phone. I was like, I love that quote.
It was just
great.
fun. And it's just very AJ. You
Yeah.
know? I was just like, oh,
But we
that's
can't
it.
say that though, because the nigga like, oh, you're misgender. But it was a funny line.
Well, it's nice because that's. I always say it's why you have little kids and old people in TV shows because they can say stuff that other people
Kids say the
can't.
darndest things.
Yeah.
And I love how any club that Ruby goes to, they're like, oh, a child, come on in.
I'm like, no one's even questioning it.
You know how many females and baby daddies and baby mamas are gonna bring their kids in the club? I saw it on AJ and the Queen with the stroller. We're gonna have stroller parking at the coat rack, at the coat check.
I like how some of the in some of the bars they were telling her like that she has to sit aside or sit backstage or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this episode, they're just like, "Come sit down."
Come sit
Yeah.
down.
Giving up all pretense.
Meet my mama. Yeah.
So I wanted to leave a little time because this is our news and gossip section, focused on season 12 of Drag Race.
Bam. Queens.
AfterBuzz TV News.
We just got the teaser for season 12, 13 queens. And then Evie does the introduction for the queens, which I thought was cool because we haven't had
Yeah.
like the reigning
queen give
do,
back,
like,
yeah.
a introduction. And I thought I liked how because each year there's like a different aesthetic theme, and I liked how this one was kind of like punk rock in honor of Evie.
Was it?
I thought it was.
Okay.
You didn't like it?
All I seen was the Boulay brothers punching the air.
Oh my
girl.
God! Everybody's
They are
saying
at
that.
home right now punching the air. They are pissed.
Yeah, everybody, all the
You
comments
got
I've seen.
punk
That's
rock. I got
everybody.
post-apocalyptic Dragula. Sorry.
See, the only reason I got punk rock is because it was a it seemed like a reference to, because they have a lot of plaid, they have a lot of like spikes and black and clothespins.
It was Mad Max.
It seems like a reference to the 80s punk rock in England.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
Evie's
got,
not from England, girl. Like it just didn't make sense to me because it's like the reveal was punk rock, a post-apocalyptic, but the promo was red, white, and blue, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a summer season, a July season, like for 4th of July. And then they said it's February, so I'm like, I'm just so confused about this the pick because last year's Meet the Queen they did the abstract colors, but they kept that with the reveal.
I see. So it feels like disjointed for sure. But I think, I feel like when you have a queen like Evie, you kind of, I agree with what you were kind of saying. You have Evie projected on the wall, so you kind of want to follow suit of something similar to Evie's aesthetic in a sense. And I feel like drag is expanding, so of course they're gonna kind of want to go towards not a complete Dragula like style, but they want to do something like edgy. And of course, I feel like more in terms of marketing, of course, they're going to go towards like USA, red, white, and blue, something kind of
I think
American
it's
and
election year,
and then exactly. Yeah. And then Evie's not a part of that promo. So of course they're going to do something a little bit more bubbly and more marketable.
I also think that for me, I started to write down like the looks that I liked that the queens had, and then I stopped because I was like, they're picking out the outfits, or not necessarily picking them out, but helping style the queens. So it's hard to tell like whose aesthetic is really whose.
I almost felt like they picked that because it's two aesthetics in one trailer. It's a 14-minute trailer. You see all 13 queens, and it was odd to me that it was okay. Fine, you're gonna go with this grunge punk look. But then when it switched to red, white, and blue and her song American, I was really like, huh? Like, how did these go together?
I just knew it was
thought
a
it was
summer season.
Odd that she chose an older song. I was expecting a new song because didn't she just release a new album? I was going to say I think the grunge punk stuff was because so many of the girls on the season, that's kind of their aesthetic. I felt like there were a lot of them that this is who they are, and because you could tell which ones it wasn't really their aesthetic, trying to look a certain way. It was. I have to watch it again. I really only watched it once, literally as I was going into tape.
And it was so early because it was like 9 a.m. our time, so I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But
also, it was so dropped like that. I wonder if they were going to try to release it during DragCon UK, but there was just so much controversy with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, and obviously, AJ and the Queen, like, buzz about that's kind of dying out. So I think they just kind of wanted to get Drag Race out there as soon as possible. But there's really no promotion because it's like starts in 2 weeks, right?
No,
3 weeks.
28th.
yeah, and I didn't get anybody.
February 28th.
I didn't get anybody's name. Like, I wish I knew the girls' names. I just know.
They did say
They
the
showed
names.
them, yeah.
Although,
really quickly.
but Brita Filter, they just put Brita. Jan Sport, they just said Jan. So it was kind of like, I don't know.
A little weird.
Yeah,
if
it was
you
a
knew
little
the
weird.
queens prior to the season.
Well,
I don't
I'm guessing
know
they
any of
can't
them.
say
I
that
have
because
no
of
names,
like legal, because they can't say Brita Filter on
Yeah.
TV.
That's probably
or
it.
like when Trinity Kardashian Bonet, they can't say Kardashian, so they
Okay.
kept
Trinity
K
K.
Bonet. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or Alaska Thunderfuck, they obviously
Right.
can't say that. So
Right.
I do like that the queens are more lesser known for sure. I know
Yeah,
I literally only know two, and it brings me back to like earlier seasons
Which
when
are
you
the
didn't
two that
know.
you know? I'm curious.
I only know Brita Filter, which
Because of Ronnie.
Because of Ronnie, and I also talked about her for like my special segment.
Right.
What's my special segment called?
Yeah.
Local Queen, but also Gigi Good because she's a WeHo queen.
yes, and that's I know Jada Essence Hall from Atlanta, and Gigi Good because she lives her us here on the flyer.
See, I knew of Jansport because she has a huge Instagram following, and I had already been following her.
She's already verified, I think. Two of the queens are already verified.
Super.
But yeah, Ronnie has been seeing Brita Filter live, and he's already sent us.
Hey, love.
I saw Widow.
videos.
Widow was in the show. Widow was in the show this past Monday at Mickey's, and Heidi in Closet was in the
I
show.
love that name.
That's
oh my
that's
god,
the
I love
best
that name.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
And
Yeah.
she was very sweet. I actually met her when she was in the show, and she was very, very sweet. She has a nice Southern drawl. It's really,
That's what I
love
got from
voice.
her, like her profile. It's like, oh, she's Southern drag.
Yeah,
she's gonna dance the
totally.
house down.
Yeah,
So
she was-
I can't wait.
She was already just from having met her for a second. She
Does she dance?
I actually didn't see her perform. I was upstairs with Raven, so
okay.
I'm always just up there drinking with Raven. So,
Same.
but I did see Widow, and she was fantastic. The audience loved her. on Monday. Yeah, so that's all I know. And I'm glad that I was like, oh, I don't know any of these girls. I've heard of, like, I know Gigi just because I see her, but I don't know her.
Yeah.
So I love it because now I can be 100% honest. I don't care who I piss off.
Yeah, I don't know any of the girls like that. Like, this is the first season in a long time that I don't know anyone personally.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because you're giving more like spotlight to lesser known queens that are
Yeah.
that are working their ass off, and it's like finally time for their opportunity, I think, and it's cool.
Oh, and ML was at the show. Lewis, who plays Lewis and Cocoa Butter on Age of the Queen.
no.
He was actually at the show. And he was in the audience, and we were trying to get Raven over to him to say hi. And I said, Raven, the seat behind him's empty in the audience. Go sit behind him and tell him that he's blocking your view. And she's like, oh my God, I'm totally going to do that. So she ran over and sat behind him. She's like, excuse me, you're blocking my view. And then she took him up on stage and stuff. It was actually really cute. You might be able to see it on YouTube because I think she brings him up right before she does the curtain call with all the girls. So, and then Mickey's videotapes it. So if you look for last Monday's date and showgirls, and look for the curtain call, you might be able to see.
Speaking of showgirls,
oh,
Lorraine Love is back.
Yes.
me
Next week, right?
February 3rd.
February 3rd.
February 3rd. So
That's
I got
Mickey's.
like a week and a half-ish, which someone said to me the other day. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta get shit together.
Yeah, because your fans are gonna come out, and then if you're wearing flats,
Not wearing flats.
You might as well
am
not come
wearing
out
flats
at all.
I will. Even if I have them off until the curtain opens, I will
that's
put.
okay.
They will be on stage. When I go off stage, a whole nother story.
No, that's
So,
fine. But if
yeah.
you show up in fucking butters,
Yeah.
I am going to
Yeah.
shit. I'm going to lose it.
No, I'm not. You will never see me in flats.
Self-elimination.
So you
I'm
guys,
going
if you're
home.
at Mickey's, check out
Yeah.
February
Lorraine Love
3rd.
on February 3rd.
And come say hi to us. Bring your
Yeah.
tomatoes.
And we're working on the scheduling for season 12.
And then I did write it in the chat room, but on Tuesday we're gonna finish out AJ and the Queen at 8, 9, and 10 this coming Tuesday. So we'll finish this up. So if you want to come join us in the live chat.
Yes, please
Yes,
do.
tomorrow night.
Any
Triple
last minute
episode.
predictions for AJ and the Queen?
No.
I just want to see some more Damien ass.
Ooh, yeah,
'Cause
right?
when he ripped out, it was like jiggle a little
I'm
bit.
really feeling like he is gonna save Ruby at some point
Yeah.
because Lady Danger is like hell bent on killing Ruby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my only.
I still don't really understand why they're trying to kill Ruby, but we'll talk about it another time. I don't get, you know what I mean? Like, they did something to her. She didn't.
Yeah,
You know what I
Because
mean? Like, so I don't get why they're trying
she
to kill
knows
her.
that they're guilty. So I think Lady Danger's whole thing seems to be like leave no stone unturned. Like we just get rid of the evidence.
Okay.
So.
We'll go
All
with
this
that.
drama.
Well, thank you for tuning in. I
Thank
am your
you.
host, 123 Jackie B. You can find me at 123 Jackie B on all platforms. Mark.
Hi, I'm 123 Jackie B. Oh, no, that's not me. I'm Mark J. Freeman, also known to some as Lorraine Love. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lorraine Love. That's LORAYNE LOVE.
I want to smoke whatever you smoke before the show. You guys can watch me flex it for the gram. Follow me at Who Is Jayla Roxx. That's 2 X's 3 if you nasty.
And I'm Ollie Drennan. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Dreamer.
See you
That's it.
Tuesday.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.